lecture session. Thank you so much. It is our immense pleasure to welcome you, Mr. Pandurang Tavre, who is a renowned and is popularly known as the father of agri-tourism concept in India. He is the founder, promoter, managing director of Agri-Tourism Development Company Private Limited and the founder, chief promoter, managing director of Maharashtra State Agri and Rural Tourism Cooperative Federation Limited, a recipient of several international and national awards to his credit. Naming a few includes National Innovative Farmer Award 2018 by Indian Council of Agriculture Research, Indian Responsible Tourism Awards for Best Community-Run Homestays by the Hans Director General, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, World Responsible Tourism Gold Award 2015 and Sustainable Tourism Award 2014. He has represented India on a global platform as well at the world's first Congress on Agri-Tourism that was organized at Bologna, Italy in 2018. Frequently appearing as a keynote speaker in several events worldwide, Mr. Tavre has also been the initiator of 16th May as World Agri-Tourism Day, supported by the United Nations World Tourism Organization, and he has been a core member with the Department of Tourism, Government of Maharashtra. We again welcome you, sir, and request you to please proceed with your session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Siddharth, for this nice, wonderful introduction. And I must appreciate the patience by Professor Vandita, because almost 3-4 months he is behind me to speak with such a brilliant and intelligent students of your university and academy. Amity is very famous all over India, and students, you are all lucky to have professors and head of departments and colleges like Amity. And once you learn and once you pass out from this university, my appeal to all of you is, with such a wonderful knowledge the university has given to you, use that knowledge for the betterment of the farming communities in India. And that is what my appeal to you, to all the students, before I start my presentation. Vanita, should I start?
Yes, sir, you may please begin.
Okay. Can everybody see my presentation first slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if I make it full screen, please let me know if still you can see.
Sir, you may make it full screen from a slideshow. It will be visible
Yes.
to us. Yeah.
Is it visible now?
Not yet, sir.
Okay. Just check.
So the full screen it's not yet visible full screen. We can see the slides. We can see the slides separately.
No, because if I make it zoom.
Sir, we believe this is fine. We can do with this. It's visible to us.
Okay, take no problem. Okay, with my blessings of my mother and father, because my father just passed away on 1st of September last month. And the path shown by him, because he always wanted me to do something for the farming communities in India. In 2003, what we start is what we did is we did a market survey in Mumbai and Pune and rest of the cities with the sample size of almost 2,440 people. And this sample survey was with cross section within the cross section society of the people who are actually living in urban cities. So what was this survey all about? This survey was about whether they have relatives in the villages, whether they have visited them sometime for any festivals or functions or marriages in the villages, whether they have visited and seen the sugar factory, whether they have visited the jaggery making farm. So like this, there were almost around 25 questions we asked them. And at the end of the survey, we also asked them whether uh, you have sat on the buffalo or run behind the hens, and whether you have climbed the trees, whether you have washed the buffaloes, whether you have milked the cows. So all these things were asked, and to our surprise, the the conclusion or the result of the survey was 43% of the urban Indians, they don't have relatives left in the villages. Now, if at all, if these urban citizens they want to visit the village, if they want to go and see the farm, if they want to go and see the various crops, if they want to go and milk the cow, if they want to go and see how the food is produced by the farmers, and entire the life of the farming community. So where they will go, and then we came into picture, saying that if as me as a farmer, if I host a tourist on the farm, what will happen? So this was, the story of one side. The other side story is you all know that the life of the farmer depends on three most important things. That is rain, produce, and price for the produce. All these three things never come in the combination. It never happens that this year it is a good rain, it is a good produce, and you will get good price for the produce. This combination comes together once in 4 years or once in 5 years. And hence there is nothing sustainable in the farm. What I say is there is no sustainable income, there is no sustainable employment, and there is no sustainable livelihood on the farm. And hence the next generation of the farmers, they are actually going in the urban cities in search of job, and hence there is nobody left in the village to do actual farming. So this is the irony of the farmers. And the other side, the tourism is increasing, tourists are increasing day by day. Last year, almost 13 crore people have traveled domestically to various destinations and various places. So, can we ask tourists to come on the farm? And if he comes on the farms, what will he do? Out of three things, when farmers' life depends on rain, produce, and price. Rain is not in farmer's hand. Produce is somewhat in farmer's hand. Again, price is not in farmer's hand. Somebody else has decide the price for the crops or the fresh vegetables or the farm produce. If we allow farmers to decide the price, what will happen? He will get sustainable income. How? Because when tourist comes on the farm, they will stay on the farm, they will see the village, they will roam around in the village, they will see any historical site, geographical site, any natural heritage site, and while going back, they will buy fresh farm produce from the farmer. Not only by the farmers, not only by the surrounding farmers, even the self-help groups women's products can be sold on the farm. Even the artisans from the village can be sold. The arts and crafts, handicrafts can be sold to the tourists. So in one line, what is agritourism? Agritourism is from the tourism side to go to the village, see the farm, see the crops, see the climate, go into village, see the village temples, see the village traditions, cultures, and buy fresh farm produce from the farmer. From the farmer's side, it is hosting tourists on the farm to sell fresh agricultural produce, crafts, handicrafts by the artisans, and the products by the self-help groups. So this is the definition of agri-tourism. So it also, it helps. The tourist gets entertainment, recreation, and participation is more important because when the tourist comes there, the tourists participate in the farm work. In the next slides, you can see that. And education, because 50% of the Indians, they don't know, where the milk comes from. I mean, if you ask the students, young students of, third standard, fourth standard, fifth standards, they say, अरे भैया दूध कहाँ से आता है? तो दिल्ली में बच्चे लोग बोलते हैं कि भैया भैया दूध देता है. I mean, this is the tragedy of the younger generations in India. टमाटो कहाँ आता है? तो बोलते हैं जमीन के नीचे आता है. पोटैटो किधर आता है? तो जमीन के ऊपर आता है. I mean, this is what we have found in the surveys. And when we host the educational tours on the farm, I know there is so much of curiosity within the students community that a lot of things in farming, agriculture, they don't know. So it's a direct connect with the farmer, and it helps opportunity to sell agricultural produce. What is the potential? 43%, as I told you, 43% of the urban Indians, they don't have relatives left in the villages. 18.52 crore domestic tourists have visited in 2019 to various places. 1.9 crore international tourists visits India. Now, when they visit India, our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji, always said that India lives in villages. If you want to see real India, go and visit the villages. There are 6,40,000 villages in India. So there is so much of culture, there is so much of traditions, there is so much of, so many festivals, so many languages are being spoken in India, so much of traditions, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and from here, so much of there is there. And almost 2.36 crore Indians traveling to other countries. Imagine, 1.9 crore people are coming in and 2.36 crore people are going out. So it is actually nullifying the effect what we are actually earning from international tourists. So domestic tourist is the most important factor in tourism sector. All over the world, people have, or the institution, the associations, councils, apex bodies of tourism, all over the world, they have understood the importance of tourism. And post COVID-19, the domestic tourism is going to help the tourism professionals, the farmers, communities to survive. And that is where agri-tourism comes into picture. That agri-tourism is the core of domestic tourism offered by our people. This everybody knows. This is just the educational factor that share of India in international 1.27. What is the current situation of Maharashtra? Maharashtra has 628 agri-tourism farms spread across 29 districts of Maharashtra, and during 18, 19 and 20, 1.7 million tourists have visited them and generating 510 million Indian rupees and 7,500 and more employments to these farming communities. So it's a great achievement because if you see the Maharashtra is spread across almost 34 districts. Out of that 29 districts, there are tourism farms. And this is what it has generated last 3 years. So this is what the current situation of Maharashtra agritourism is. Now we will talk about policy also, policy and who can actually do agritourism uh, in the farms. A farmer who has 1 acre land, 2 acre land, or 5 acre land, they can do agritourism farms. The farmers, villages, Krishi Vignan Kendras, agricultural colleges, agricultural universities can do these farms. Minimum requirement is 1 acre land, 2 to 5 acre, 6 rooms, 5 and above 8 rooms. And 20% of the land can be used for the tourism infrastructure. And if you want to host educational tours, you have to have 5 acre and above. Now we will talk about the pilot project where we started agritourism farm. So this village is the name of the village is Palchiwadi. It comes into Baramati Tehsil district, Pune, Maharashtra. Now this village receives hardly 238 millimeter of rainfall every year, which is very rain-fed area. The first thing first, what we did was we thought of actually harvesting the rainwater, and we started construction the rain farm pond for rainwater harvesting, and we collected the rainwater, whatever the rain was coming at our farm. We collected the rainwater and from this water only we do entire 30 acre of farming irrigation. Then we started planting indigenous trees like wood, pimple, all these things, which is origin of India. Now, how we involve local people there? Because normally you all students, you are actually studying tourism, hotel management, or housekeeping and everything. As you all know, the involvement of the local people in the tourism sector is very less or negligible. If you go to Rajasthan, if you go to Gujarat, if you go to Goa, the local people are only called to perform in front of the tourist in the evening. There is a bonfire, campfire, bonfire, and the local people are actually told to dance or sing or like that. So the with the limited exposure and with the limited involvement of the local people, there is no benefit at all to the local communities. And hence, I thought, why not to use or why not to involve local people right from the beginning? Why from the beginning? Because once the project is developed, the ownership feeling of that project will lie within the local people. So this is a local farmer. He is actually artist. What I'm saying is artisan who actually helped to build the house. So we inaugurated or done the Bhumi Pujan by his hands. These are all local youths. If you see, we have used local material, only cement and steel. That is the only material we bought it from outside. Otherwise, right from the people, right from the masoners, right, everything was locally resourced, and local people were involved in that, and local architect design. Imagine if you want to develop a agritourism project, so you cannot do a concrete jungle there. You cannot construct 20 rooms, 40 rooms like a resort. You cannot have a flashy swimming pool, flashy air conditioned rooms, because people are not coming to actually swim in the blue swimming pool water. Actually, they want to see the village. They want to roam around in the village. In tourism, I always say that there is a triple E formula in tourism. Now, what is this triple E? Triple E is when tourist comes to the farm or village, he explored the village, he explored the village culture, he explored the village traditions, he explored the crops, he explored the climate, he explored the livelihood of the farmers. And once he explored that, he immersed into the experience of that village, culture, crops and everything, farming, agriculture. And once he gets immersed in the, that experience, he get enriched. So explore, experience and get enriched is the formula, triple E formula we used in agritourism activities. If you see, as I told you, this is the compound wall. There is no cement used. Now, from where we bought the stones, in the earlier side, I have shown you. We first thing first we did was having a farm pond to restore to save the water or to save or to harvest the rainwater. So that stones we are used for compound wall. Now, agritourism generates greater economic benefit. What is the use if you have a tourism project and it is not giving economic benefit to the local people? So agritourism definitely gives you that. These are the local machineries they are using there. See the change in the rural youths. When they started working here, when they started developing the projects, the economic development or enhancement is being done. This is the local handicraft is being sold to the tourist when they come and see the farm. This is the Rajai, or we in Maharashtra we call as Godadi, which is hand stitched and hand stitched from the used saris, used dhotis, used cloths. When we were actually young, so I don't remember having new blankets or new razais. My grandmother, my mother, and my all the old ladies, they used to stitch this godadis or stitch this razais, hand stitch, and it gives you so much of warmth because it is the clothes are being used by our older generations like grandfather, father, uncles, and that warmth is already there in that cloth. And the same cloth, hand stitch, when we use that, the parampara, the traditions goes on. We should involve, as I told you, they should not be only we should we should not call them only to perform in front of the guests, but we should be involved in the decision makers. Local people, when they come there, they sell agricultural produce. These are the nearby farmers. When the tourist comes there, they sell fresh farm produce like this. These are the youths, in the decision makers. These are the youths. They are not graduate in hotel managements like you. They have not done the housekeeping course. They have not done the service course or the production course. They don't know anything about sales and marketing. They have not studied about 10th standard or 11th standard, but they are so they have the inborn quality of hospitality that whenever guest comes there, the smile on their face and to do something for the guest and not to say no to the guest is what the agritourism is all about. And agritourism always makes a positive contribution towards conservation of cultural heritage. What is cultural heritage? That this is these 2 months they are in charge of welcoming the guest. They are also in charge of cooking. They are also in charge of in the evening programs. So when there are no guests, they work in the farm, in the same farm. When guest comes, they welcome them, they cook for them, they do programs in the evening. So these are all people working there at the farm and doing performing for the village. He is the boy. His name is Mr. Sauta Phule. He is just a 10th standard pass, but he does all these programs when the tourist comes there. When BBC World did documentary on agritourism and myself, Sauta Phule was also seen in that documentary for about 4 to 5 seconds. Earlier, he used to charge 1,500 rupees for 1 hour's program. After he, seen in the BBC documentary, all over that place and all over that district, he started charging 7,500 rupees. Imagine. So this was, he said, like, now I'm a BBC featured person, so I should have that kind of. That has given him that confidence to earn more amount. This is when the tourist comes there, and a lot of people say that foreigners don't eat food like us. We have to only serve them apple, or butter, or cheese, or bread, and they only eat salads. But if you come at my place, they sit down, and as you know, in tourism, the sit down dinners or sit down lunch is the in thing. It's a trending all over the world that people call for sit down dinners or a sit down lunch. It is happening all over the world, and when they come there, it's a like rangoli just for the plate ke surrounding the rangoli hum nikalte hai, and people are served like this. This is the local art and crafts. So it is well said and done that the tourism should help local people, local farmers. It should have conserve the local heritage and everything. But at the same time, it should also give the authentic experience to the tourist. When I say authentic, that it's the tourist, the urban tourist, when he comes to the farm, he should not feel that I have come to another city, to come to another resort, come to another hotel. The entire feeling has to be different. When I say different, means authentic. And he should have some meaningful connections with the local people and greater understanding about local culture, social and environmental issues. किसान कैसा रहता है, ये अगर टूरिस्ट को नहीं जान पाया तो कोई मतलब नहीं है टूरिज्म का. अगर टूरिस्ट वहां पे आता है and he doesn't know what are the types of crops he has actually sown or harvested, there is no use of going to agritourism, and there is no use of hosting the tourist on the farm. So COVID or after COVID-19, there is not going to be a mass tourism at all. It will not happen another 3 years that 50 people are traveling together to Goa, or 50 people traveling to some other place. It will be individual family going in their car to the closest destination, like 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers, or maximum 100 kilometers, and it will be a individual family holidays. It will not be mass tourism. So it is not going to be no more. It is going to be a synthetic experience. It is going to be a authentic experience, and hence these villages can be a healing experience to the tourist, because you will have fresh air, no pollution, authentic food, authentic people to serve you, authentic people to welcome you there, and everywhere will be a greenery, and it will have a simple joy. Because today, sitting in AC cabin, imagine if you have gone to Switzerland and you are staying a resort where there is in your room. And imagine if you come to my farm and again I am giving you a AC room. So that air from the AC is going to be the same, whether you are staying in Switzerland resort or whether you are staying in Delhi resort, or whether you are coming to the farm who have AC rooms. So give them the authentic and enjoyable experience. What we do, I am the only person in the world who issues a license to drive bullock cart anywhere in the world. Imagine, I mean, this is like a brilliant idea. One of my one of my youth in the rural village, he gave me this idea. He said, Pandudada, why don't we give this kind of things? Because They are driving the bullock cart, they are driving the tractors, and when they go around with the in the farm, and once they come back, you ask them some simple questions, and if they answer them, you issue them the license to drive bullock cart anywhere in the world. And mind you, every tourist wants this license. Whether they are foreigners, whether they are Indians, whether they are everybody, they want this license to them. And this license helps me to, propagate my agritourism center. If they take this license, and when they go home back, they frame it and put it in the drawing room. So whenever the friends comes to them and they ask, what is this bullock cart license? They said, okay, where do you get it? He said, no, there is a Pandurang, and that he issues license, and like a lot of things like this. Very simple idea. It helps to propagate the agritourism concept as well as the farm. These are the Japanese girls. They also wanted, license to drive bullock cart in the world. What these people do, as I said, participation is more important. अगर टूरिस्ट अपने खेत में आता है और उसके पाव को अगर मिट्टी नहीं लगता है, उसको अगर वो फीलिंग, you will have more feeling when you touch everything, touch the crops, touch the animals, work in the farm, irrigate the crops, irrigate and do something in the work in the farm. Then you will have that experience. Wear the local attire there, because we have 1 hour and 50 minutes session of wearing the local saris, dhotis, fetas, like tika, everything. So there are women who help the tourists when they come there to wear this kind of things. All foreigners, whenever they come, they use this is 9-yard sari, and girls love to wear this kind of clothes, all saris, and they take selfies and they take photographs, and a lot of things happen there. People work in the farm. The fathers, they want to show their son, daughter, how the crop is made, how the ploughing is made, how to actually run the bullocks there. A lot of things. People irrigate. People work in the farm in the morning time. When we go to the to take a round on the farm, they see a lot of birds, a variety of birds. They work in the farm, and they, a lot of things happen. This was like, the agritourism has to be culturally sensitive. It should respect as tourist and the host also, because it should not happen that, because remember, the farmer is actually hosting you as a tourist. So farmer is not a manager. Farmer is the owner of that farm. So that respect has to be there, because he works in the farm. He actually produces the food for us, in every people who stay in urban cities. So that respect has to be there. So when that respect will come, if you are a culturally sensitive tourist. This is a Blair as a tourist from London, and he is the local farmer there. Tourists visit to the local bazaars, weekly bazaars there. They wear bangles, they shop, and a lot of things happen. These are the tourists and the young girls there welcoming the tourist. This is selfie. Imagine people take selfies behind or in front of the Taj Mahal or Qutub Minar or a lot of destinations. We have a selfie here at the farm. So it's a great moment, because this is the story I told you about our farm there in Baramati, and there are some great moments. So this is 20 district collectors from Bihar came to our farm to study the agritourism concept model, what they wanted to replicate in Bihar and other states there. This is Ami and Blair from London as a tourist. And who says farmer cannot earn dollars? So we are actually also earning dollars when the tourist comes. These are all, if you are tourism students, or if you are hotel management students, you should know this lady. She is Fiona Jeffrey, and WTM is World Travel Market, one of the biggest tourism exhibition happens all over the world, and one is happening in London every year in November. I had opportunity to meet her because in 2011 I received first international award for community benefit tourism. He is Goodwin. He is a person responsible for responsible tourism all over the world. He is a professor in Leeds University there in Manchester, and he is the man behind the responsible tourism movement all over the world. These are the stalwarts, Mandir Singh Swayan. He is the chairman and the first person from the tourism sector to receive Arjun Award for adventure tourism activities. I was a part of delegation of Chief Minister who took us to the Japan to propagate agri-tourism. Because why Japan? Because in Maharashtra there are two sets of caves. One is Ajanta caves and Ellora caves. So to see these caves, there are a lot of visitors from Japan. A lot of people come to see the caves, and that is where we wanted to popularize the agritourism concept, because Ajanta caves are near Aurangabad, and once they see the caves, they go back to Mumbai. So we wanted to see the opportunity, explore the opportunity. If the tourists stay nearby to the Aurangabad and nearby to the caves, there will be some economic development happening in the surroundings of Ajanta and Ellora caves. He's my father and mother. First time they traveled internationally. In fact, first time they I had opportunity to get the passport to them. And my father that time he was almost 77 years old, and because of his 75th birthday and my mother's 71st birthday, I wanted to give them, one international holiday along with us, and just to show them okay, what their son is actually doing internationally. This was the Philippines' first international farm tourism conference, and they were so happy to see that agri-tourism all over the world it is happening. And this is the conference there, and I received the Lakbe Bukit Award from Philippines government, who does extremely extraordinary work in farm tourism activities all over the world. This was a World Agritourism Congress in Italy in 2018, and they were the professors at URAC Research Institute, and we presented them the traditional Gandhi cap and shawl, and they were so happy. You can see the smile on their face. Almost 56 countries delegation came to attend that World Agritourism Congress in 2018, and I was very happy to present India's case as agritourism and what agritourism is happening all over the world. So, with the intention, with the good intention to help the farming communities, with good intention to support the farming communities for generating the sustainable income, employment, and livelihood, definitely people around you, they take the note of it. It is not only the note of it, but the government also took a note of it. Siddharth has already mentioned these things, because in 2008, in the history of entire Maharashtra of 60 years, Maharashtra was receiving the national award for most innovative tourism product, and that was very proud moment, not only to me but to my father, mother, and the entire community, farming communities of India, that farmer also can do wonders if given the opportunity to innovate. This was World Tourism and Travel Council. All tourism students must be knowing this. This was the London, as I told you, in 2011. This was all the awards. Siddharth has already mentioned it. I will not take much of the time. And this was the once again National Tourism Award for the best responsible tourism project of the country. It was Cal Mexico. This was Responsible Tourism Award London in 2015 again. This was Innovative Farmer Award by Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India. So a lot of awards are there. I mean, it is not that we do. These are the initiatives we have taken. 16th May as World Agri-Tourism Day as farmers support. And now this is very, very important for the students, because you may be saying that you came here, you spoke about agri-tourism, you spoke about the concept, but what is there to us and what is the takeaway for the students? So there are a lot of opportunities in agri-tourism. One, if you have the farmers background and if you are from farmers community or farmers family, start the agri-tourism activity once you pass out from the college. It will give you much more than the plain vanilla career in the tourism industry or the hotel industry. Because one, I mean, imagine if it's housekeeping or production or service or tours and travels. Uh, Beyond that, it will give you much greater satisfaction that you are doing something for your village, something for the farming communities, and something for yourself to keep your farming traditions alive. Imagine a politician says, my son should be a political leader once he grows up. Imagine a next generation of the doctor saying that I want to be a doctor. Imagine a lawyer's next generation say that I want to be a lawyer. Why not a farmer's son says that I want to be a progressive farmer once I grow up and once I want to make a career as a progressive farmer. So my dear students, there is a lot of opportunities. If you require any help on starting agritourism, please convey the message through Professor Vandita and Professor Siddharth. Definitely we will help you in that. To work in the agritourism center or to work with our organization, because we have expansion plan to go all over India and to set up offices and help farmers to start agritourism activities. Or if you are if you are a students and who has knowledge in social media marketing sales, approach to the farmers who have agritourism centers developed and operational. Take a bundle of 10 farmers and market their products, market their packages to the urban cities, and organize the tours to their farms. That will help the farmers to get the tourists. So get in touch. This is my contact details. Anybody wants to take a screenshot, they can take a screenshot and keep it ready with them. So whenever, do visit our website, agritourism.in. We have a Facebook page, Agritourism India, and a lot of Instagram and everywhere that is there. YouTube, there are a lot of videos are there. You can watch the videos. Or I request Professor Vandita and Siddharth to circulate that videos amongst your students communities, and it will definitely give some inspiration to agritourism activities. This is our address there, Baramati Agri and Rural Tourism Research Center. This is my phone number, and thank you students for your patience hearing. Thank you so much. Hope students were not bored and they got the message what I actually wanted to say. So thank you, Vandita, once again, and Siddharth, son.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a wonderfully inspiring presentation. You have given us a glimpse of the journey of agri-tourism in India and your own journey as well as a pioneer of agri-tourism in India. You have described what is the potential right now, how Maharashtra is leading in agri-tourism scene, and how agri-tourism is inherently sustainable in nature, bringing about local benefits and community upliftment, promoting the sale of farm agri-produce and generating additional farm income, benefiting the farmers. That's a very important thing. And most importantly, you have showcased how agri-tourism turns a mere onlooker into someone who seeks meaningful and deeper connection with a certain destination. as well as you have highlighted the opportunities in agri-tourism for students. Sir, we will just take a few questions from the end of our students. The
Please,
first
please.
question is, what are the protocols and guidelines that farm stay properties should follow in the wake of COVID-19?
Yeah, because Government of India and Government of Maharashtra also have issued standard operating procedures for the farm and agritourism farms. Like, uh, what I'm saying is bee inspect, वो spray मारते हैं उसको क्या बोलते हैं bee infection things,
Right.
and yeah, and plus washing hands always and social distancing. So even if a farmer has 8 rooms, government has allowed to occupy only 4 rooms now. So all these things are there. So a lot of SOPs are there, and if you want, I will mail you that SOPs. You can circulate with the students.
Thank you so much, sir. Our next question is, when we compare India with foreign countries, what are our inherent USPs as an agri-tourism destination? I mean, if we compare ourselves to maybe Italy, maybe Switzerland, so what are our USPs?
See, our USP or uniqueness is India is basically a agriculture country. 80% of the communities live in villages. As I told you, Mahatma Gandhi said more than 6,40,000 villages are there. So out of these 6 lakhs villages, and so much of languages, so much of traditions, so much of festivals, so much of community traditions are there. So there is a opportunity for every alternate farmer to start agritourism activities, because uh, different climate, different traditions, different food, different meals, uh, everything is different. So there are a lot of opportunities and there are a lot of uniqueness. In Italy, what happens? Uh, it goes in a straight line. I mean, there is a farmer, there is a cows, there is a grape farm, and they produce wine and they produce cheese, and people call them to taste the wine and taste the cheese. I mean, that is what it is. So, with vibrant traditions in India, we'll have much more opportunities for agritourism in India.
Thank you so much, sir. Uh, what risk management measures should exist at an agri-tourism attraction? I believe this question is coming up because of the current scenario that our industry is facing.
See, uh, see, what happens is, like, if you start agritourism activities, there are a lot of risk involved in that, because farmer is actually he's knowing farming, in a better way, but he sometimes he don't know tourism integrities, he don't know housekeeping, he don't know hospitality, he don't know marketing, he don't know sales. So it is not that starting an agritourism farm is very much easier than keeping it operational. And in during this COVID-19, almost 7 months, 8 months, it is closed. So even it was closed, he is not fully depending on tourism activities, because there is a rule that 80% of your farm has to have agriculture, and only 20% farm should be tourism. So as it is, in 80% he is working there. It is not like a hotelier, it is not like a restaurant, it is not like a resort. That once it is closed means it is closed. So farming activities were actually going on. But physical risk, when the tourist comes on the farm, like suppose imagine the tourist is having a bullock cart ride. The urban citizen, not every day is sitting in the bullock cart. Maybe he is sitting in a car every day. So he is safe. But in bullock cart, he may not be a safe. In tractor ride, he may not be a safe. Because once he comes there, the urban tourist feels that he is so much excited to do things, and he says, okay, this is very easy, this is very easy, I can do it, and he falls down and his legs is fractured, or hand is fractured, or he's broken his teeth. So physical harm there are a lot of risk involved in that. And a lot of things, security is more important to the tourist. So all this mitigation of the risk, we teach them during training programs, and we teach them, how to mitigate all this risk of sales, marketing, and everything.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, there are many questions, so we will just take up 2-3 of them more.
Please come, no problem.
Yes, sir. So the next question is, can agri-tourism be a suitable backdrop for activities like, say, corporate events?
It may be suitable, but corporate events are basically involved a lot of things. I mean, they involve liquor, they involve non-veg, a lot of things are there. So I don't know, but in Maharashtra, corporate companies, they don't prefer farm or agri-tourism activities, because in Maharashtra, on agri-tourism center, we don't serve liquor, and almost 50% of the farm don't serve non-veg, because once the non-veg is there, people want to have a liquor and enjoy and go gala gala, because agritourism is not about that. Agritourism is not about taking your urban culture and urban tradition to the farm. So learn from the farm, learn from the farmer, learn from the village culture, see the environment, see the climate, see the traditions. As I told you, it is explore, experience, and enrichment. Enrichment is more important. People should know where the food is coming from, and food cannot be a fun. A lot of younger generation students, younger generation boys and girls, they don't eat, for example, bendi. Bendi? Bendi, everybody know or no?
Yes, sir. Lettuce finger. That's what they call, or okra. Yeah.
Okra, yes. So lot of young generation don't eat. I don't eat this, and they talk to mother that I don't want to do this. I don't want to eat this. Once they go there and see how many days it requires to actually harvest the bendi or the okra, what difficulties goes into that. So rice, I mean, it takes almost 110 days, 120 days, and after that another 15-20 days to come rice to come on your plate. So boys and girls should understand that. Boys and girls should understand the importance of the food that they eat on their plate is not dropped from the sky. So what I want to say is that corporate, if they want to, if you tell them do's and don'ts when they come to the farm, then definitely we will welcome them. That is not the issue.
Thank you so much, sir. There is another question. What could be the different income sources for an agri-tourism attraction?
Yeah, one is farm tour. Farmer can charge that. Food, meals are there. Major income has to be from selling farm produce, selling fresh farm vegetables, grains, farm produce, and artisans, art, craft, handicrafts, products from self-help group women's. As I told you, I shown you that stitched hand stitched godhis and razais. So this should give you more income, because for a day tour, when the tourist comes there, you are going to charge him 300-400 rupees. So that is not good income. Why a farmer should start agri-tourism is to not just to limit him with the food and activities. One underlying objective of agri-tourism, and it is a major objective, is to sell agricultural produce. That is his first job. Farmer is not a hotelier. Farmer is not a restaurant. Farmer. Why he is calling you there is to sell the produce. So that is more important. So if he doesn't have the working farm, if he doesn't have vegetables, crops growing on the farm, what is going to sell? So agri-tourism, it's not be limited only with the activities. The measure has to be crops and farm, working farm.
Definitely, sir. So then we can say that agri-tourism, it inherently has a potential to avoid leakages that happen from the tourism income.
Avoiding the middleman.
Yes, because it is promoting consumption of locally grown produce. So we will take just one last question before we end this session for the day. That is, what are the possible challenges of agri-tourism in India?
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges because every farmer cannot start agritourism and every farm cannot be an agritourism center. So, and agritourism is not a Ramban, medicine to all the farmers. So, first thing first is that your entire family should be involved in the agritourism. Third thing is that in your family there has to be somebody who can speak Hindi, somebody who can speak English, somebody at least one or two languages. And now the requirement is in your family there has to be somebody who can manage the social media for you, who can send the emails, take the bookings, that kind of things. Plus, you should have a working farm. In 1 acre and 2 acre, what is going to show you? The farm tour will end in 15 minutes. So you should have at least 5-6 acres. You should have variety of crops in the farm. You should have animal husbandry. You should have poultry. You should have some fisheries. You know the different activities of the farmings. Because once you imagine, if you go to Taj Mahal in Agra, what is the objective of visiting the Taj Mahal? To see, the beauty of the Taj Mahal, who has built it, how many days it took to build it, what is the expenses it done. Similarly, when the tourist comes to your farm, he is excited to see the crops, he is excited to see the animals, he is excited to see birds, he is excited to see village culture. So if you are not going to show him this, and if you don't have this to show him or showcase that, so you cannot start agritourism in that. Training is more important. As I told you, he is well versed or expert in the agriculture, but probably he may not be well versed with the tourism, and hence the institutes like you should come out with the diploma or certificate course in agriculture agritourism. If you want, we can design a certificate course of agritourism, because all over world there are certificate courses of agritourism. In fact, there are 3-4 universities in the European countries who have degree courses on agritourism. Vermont Agriculture University in USA, they also have degree course of agritourism. Philippines, Baikal Agricultural University have degree course in agritourism. So if you want our organization and your institute, you can have us as a knowledge partner, and we can design a nice 3 months, 4 months, 6 months certificate courses, because education, there are a lot of educations now, because after 3 years also, a lot of students, they don't know how to write a biota. After graduation, after MBA also. So what I want to say is, keep it short and script. Who will that course will give him entrepreneurial opportunities immediately to start something. So it's on a hands-on certificate course. The students should come to the farm, students should go to the agritourism centers, they should learn the live hands-on experiences, so that will give him the knowledge either to start agritourism himself, or either to work in agritourism, either to market and sales for agritourism center. So if your institute Amity comes forward, definitely we will help you in designing the certificate course in agritourism.
Thank you so much, sir. We would have loved to, go on listening to you, but we have to end this session for the day. Now, may I request our head of the institute, Professor Siddharth Nanda, sir, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Sir, thank you so much for your valuable views. You have shared so much of knowledge and insight into agritourism. I would rarely have so much of information if I have not have attended the session honestly today. It's a huge business opportunity for everyone, and equally employment opportunities. And one thing which I have found out is how humbly you have achieved so much, which every student and every faculty, and including me, should learn from you. How through humbleness and hard work one can achieve success. You have been there with all the big shots of the industries as well as with the farmers, and creating a connect between both, and how creatively you have been achieving it. It's an honor to have you with us, sir. And I really love the idea of driving license a bullock cart, honestly, and it was very, very inspiring as well. How small ideas can connect with the emotions of people and create huge opportunities. Again, thank you, and always we'll look forward more associations with you, and Thank you so much, sir, for attending.
Think about certificate course, and
Definitely.
promise you, Siddharth, you should promise me that you will bring your students to the farms in Maharashtra to show
Definitely.
them,
Definitely.
to showcase them the agritourism.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Mamita,
much.
and thank you everything. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.